And welcome back, students. I realized last time we went here and defined title, but we didn't really define anything else. So I just want to quickly, before we jump fully into the next exercise, I want to make sure I define what a class is for you. And a class is simply just an identifier for HTML, or not so much HTML, but for CSS elements. So just want to go ahead and throw that in there for you guys in case you've had any questions about that. Also, remember we had some CSS codes that we used. So we used background dash color, which changes the background color. And we also had color, which changes the text color. So I forgot to add those in there last time, so there they are. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new one here for our next exercise, which is exercise 4. Okay. All right. So we're going to do a couple things in this exercise. So there's going to be a lot kind of been thrown at you really quickly. So I'm going to pop back over to here, and I'm going to go back now to work in my body. So we did some stuff in our header before, but now let's work in our body. So what I'm going to do is let's go below our current link here. I'm just going to put a horizontal rule in just to kind of separate what we did before from what we're doing now. And first thing I want to do is insert an image. You're like, hey, great, I can put in pretty pictures. Well, in order to insert an image, what we can do when we're doing this is actually we can code it in. Now, Dreamweaver has a nice thing right here for insert image, and I notice there's other elements here that we can do. So if I want to insert an image, I just click insert image, and then it's going to ask me to find it. So I'm just going to go, and if I have an image that I have downloaded, I can do that. So I'm just going to grab one that I have here. Now you can go off and find your own. So I have this thumbs up icon here. And one thing that I'm going to say though, before we even really kind of get into that, when you get an image, right, the first thing you want to do, okay, so I'm going to pull this from my folder here. I'm going to grab from Web Design 3, and grab the thumbs up logo, and copy that. So you want to move this so you can copy or cut it, and you want to put it into the exact same folder of what you're working in. So since I'm working in Cat 2, inside Web Design, I want to put that picture there as well. And the reason for that is because it helps avoid some file pathing issues. So I can just go ahead and leave that there. And then when I go to here, I can insert that image. And I can go to my Cat 2 folder, go to Web Design, and there's my picture. I click OK, and it'll show up in here. Now, if we don't have, we're not using Dreamweaver, we have to code this out by hand. So it has the image, src, for source equals, and it's going to ask me to browse. And so I can do it this way too, and if I hit enter, it'll actually bring up the browsing window for me. And I can do the exact same thing. I can go to my Cat 2 folder, go to Web Design, double click on the image, and it'll add it in. Okay. Then, of course, I just have to kind of close that out with a closing mark there. Now, the one thing about this is that you'll notice that the image is pretty large. It comes in full size. So if you just insert an image, it comes in at the full size. Now, I don't necessarily want an image always to be as big as it possibly can be, because otherwise, if you have an image that's, let's say, 5,000 by 4,000 pixels, that's probably larger than what your screen is at. So what I can do is I can add in a height and width to tell it I don't want you that big. And the way I do that is I just add in here a style command, and I say style equals, and then I say quote width, and I say colon, and I give it a dimension. So let's make this one only going to be, let's do 200 by 200 pixels. So 200 pixels, and then I just do semicolon, height, colon, 200 pixels, semicolon. Hit save. And if I look now, it has updated to only be 200 by 200. Now, one other thing that I should do is include what is known as alt text. Alt text is generally used for like low vision, readers and stuff like that to kind of describe what the image is of. So this is usually just a description of what are the images, and this is just going to be a thumbs up icon. Hit save, and let's just refresh everything. And if we look back out at our example web page here, hit refresh, you can see there is the icon right there. So there's my image. Okay, so that's how we can add an image in, as simple as that, just using code similar to that. So let's just add that some of the stuff to our list here. IMG is used for an image. SRC equals, quote, is going to be the file location of the image. Alt equals is going to be the description of the image. And style equals is often used to set width and height. Okay? So let's move on to our next thing from here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and flip back to here, and let's, underneath our person here, let's do a horizontal rule, HR, and we're going to create a table. Now a table is done with simply just the table command. Hit enter, boom, I have a table. But right now that table doesn't really have anything in it. All it is I said I created a table. So the table element is used to create a table. Now the table element has more elements within it. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and create a new slide here, because we're going to have quite a few coming in here. So exercise 4. And the first element that we're going to do is the TR. Every time we make something in the table, we have to do a TR element. So TR stands for table row. So the very first thing is you always have to create a row. Then within rows, you're going to have either a TH or a TD. All right. A TH is for table headers, and then TD is for table data. Okay. Now, table headers only happen at the very beginning of your table. You don't necessarily have to have table headers, but they're always going to be at the beginning. So TH is going to be here, and in here I'm going to put something. So let's just say first name. Actually, I'll just do this. TH. Right. Table. I said first name. And then let's go ahead and create a second one. So that is TH again. And this would be last name. Okay. That is all I want for that first part of the table. So there's first name, there's last name. All right. Then I want to make a new row, which is actually going to have some names in it. So I'm going to create a narrow table row. And now I'm going to do a TD. And in here, let's just say Jill. And since her last name, let's do another one. TD. And do Smith. And then let's just create one more person just so we have another row to look at. And then TR, TD. And let's call this person Eve. And TD. And we'll call her Jackson. Hit save. And if I scroll down, there's my table. Now it may not look like a table because you don't have the border elements defined, but right now we have it. Now with this table, by default, what HTML will do is try to condense it down as much as possible. So if I want to maybe have the table be halfway across the page, I apply a style in here. So just like we did with our links, or our image, we can apply a style command here. And in here I say style, and again I use the width command, but I don't use it pixels. Right? Generally with tables, instead I use percents. So in here I'm going to say, let's say 50%. And so now the table will be spanning across 50% of my web page. So that means even when I get out to a larger web page such as this, it will always be out 50% of that web page. So that's the advantage of percents over a solid pixel, is that percents are far more flexible. So let's just make a note of that. All right, that percents are more flexible than pixels. Pixels, however, are more precise. So the advantage of pixels, you can really narrow it down to the exact pixel, whereas a percent, it's more of an approximation. So that is the kind of the trade-off. All right, now let's go back to this table here in just a second, because there's going to be something else that we're going to add. We're also going to add in two other things. One is which is the border, which is simply it adds the thickness of lines to a table. And the other thing is the padding, which is just going to be, let me just make one more page here. Exercise 4. Padding. Padding is going to kind of be, there's two things. Padding, which is the space kind of within elements. And the other thing is margin, which is the space between two different elements. So, back in here in my table, I can add any of that stuff in just by doing it, not here, but up here in CSS. So if I want to style this table, I can simply just add in, for example, table, and I wanted to, let's say, do a border. I need to not just do table and say, I want the table to have a border, and I want it to be a 1 pixel, I want it to be solid and black, which is all fine and dandy, but if I just put the table element, you can see it just puts it around the outside edge there. If I want it through the whole thing, I have to add the corresponding elements, which are th and td. Then you will have the full thing. If I just put th in here, it will only do the first two elements because those have the th. So I had to put th and td to get the full thing boxed. Right? Now, if I want to do a padding, I can easily come in here and add a padding. So let's just say I want just padding for th and td. I don't want necessarily for the whole table because that's not what I'm looking for. I just say padding, and I might say 5 pixels. And you can see it'll add inside of each of these elements here a 5 pixel padding between the text and the edge of the inside of that element. So that's what I mean within an element. All right, it's within the element rather than outside of it. If I set a margin of 5 pixels, it doesn't really do much here. Margin is something that we will deal with later on, but we're not really going to touch with here for the tables. Okay. Last thing, folks, and then I will have you free, is to go ahead and create lists. Now, there are two types of lists that you can create. You can create ordered list, or you can create unordered list. An ordered list is simply one that uses numbers. An unordered list is one that uses bullets. So we call these many different things, which is like bulleted list, numbered list. It's just in HTML, we call it ordered and unordered. So to make a ordered list, it's just OL, and I hit enter. And I can just simply make each list element using the li tag. So let's add those in here. So OL is for an ordered list. Li is a list item. And then our last one is going to be UL, which is a unordered list. Okay. So here in LI, this is one thing. Let's just make a list of, let's say, drinks. So I'm just going to do milk, orange juice, and let's just do water. Okay. So if I scroll down, here's my list: milk, orange juice, water. And if I want to do an unordered list, I'll just use the same li elements here just to show the difference. So milk, orange juice, water. Save. And if I scroll down, you can see they're all here. So let's just do a save all. Let's go look at our example page, hit refresh. And you can see here's my table, and here are my two list elements. That's about everything that we have for today, though, folks. So again, just like before, I'm going to give you some samples to work on, and you'll be on your own. So we'll tune in next time as we will continue to learn some more HTML.